I played rugby kind of amateur level up to I was about 30, then just started putting on a bit of weight. Had 3 children, got 3 daughters, 3 young daughters. And when we had our 3rd daughter, I just found I needed something to just sort of get away from it really, just, you know, an hour here, an hour in there. So I started running regularly, and I just found that gave me a bit of an escape, something just to switch off for an hour, which is always quite nice. But after a while, I just, from an old rugby injury, I sometimes struggle with flare-ups in my ankle where I've got arthritis in it, and I just thought long term, if I want to carry on exercising like for my own health, I need to find something that would maybe not have so much impact on my joints. So yeah, I spoke to a friend of mine. He was at Tewkesbury Triathlon Club, the local triathlon club, and he said, well, come down and try swimming. So I sort of said, yeah, okay, I'll come and give it a go. I haven't really swam since I was like a little kid. And I rocked up to my first session in big baggy board shorts and no goggles, and everyone kind of looked at me and like said, you're not going to be able to swim in those. So, and the other thing was I just finished a run and I thought, I'm pretty fit, I know what I'm doing, and I had to stop after 2 lengths. So I was humbled pretty quickly at my first swimming session, but instantly I really enjoyed it, so I carried on. And so I've now been swimming for probably 2 and a bit years, almost pretty much weekly consistently. And yeah, just really enjoyed it. And obviously being a member of the triathlon club, people are then competing in different things, various sort of multi-sport events. And I thought, want to sort of give triathlon a go. But naturally for triathlon, you need a bike, and I didn't have one, and I'd never rode a bike. So I started looking around and went to a shop and got some advice and ended up buying my first bike. So I probably fell into cycling through the need of, to complete a triathlon, you need a bike, rather than, it probably wasn't something I was actually looking to get into previous to that, but now cycling for a while, it's something I really enjoy. I try and cycle 2 or 3 times a week. Because I'm now doing it for like competition, it's probably the one area I don't get enough of cycling. Like with having 3 young kids, it's sometimes quite hard to actually get outside all the time. So it's trying to be mindful of obviously being around for them as well, and as well like being around for my wife to help her deal with the kids, so it's not all on her, although she's pretty lenient in what I can do. Still have like those responsibilities. So yeah, two I say is minimum. 3 I would like to do more, but you know, I know guys that are doing way more, but for me that's just the level I'm at the moment. It's just nice being out, like fresh air. You can cover, that's probably, I guess, one of the problems with running. In an hour you're not going to run hugely far, whereas on a bike you can get a lot further. So there's like, we live in a part of the world where actually it's quite nice. So if you can get out, there's a lot to see. So it's not always the physical benefits, it's just nice being out. I was lucky enough, I went to Lanzarote this year actually. That was pretty cool, so just cycling with some friends. They're pretty good cyclists, but it was cool to do. There's a place called Tabiasco, which was like nearly a 10-kilometre climb up a mountain, and that was pretty tough. But when you got to the top, the views were incredible, and then obviously coming down. Actually coming down there, I had my first bit of scare, but yeah, something I'd never had before. The bike started wobbling, sort of out of my control. Yeah, it sort of knocked me a bit because I'd never experienced it. But luckily, one of the chaps that was with us previously had said, if you're ever in a situation where you're worried, he said, just relax your body and let the bike do the work. And I kind of just remembered that, and I half thought about jumping off, going down this hill. So I got to a point where I thought, this isn't fun. But luckily I managed to control it. And my barriers are probably, and they're not bad, I'm not moaning because I'm very lucky. It's just commitments, like father of 3, I work full time. So it's probably time is the biggest barrier. And just like the kids are only young ones, so I do want to try and be around for them, like growing up. even with barriers, I think you can find a way to navigate around them. So for me, probably more than most, I have to find like ways I can get on the bike. So a couple of big ones for me that I've started doing. One's riding to work. So sometimes I'll leave my van at a job and just ride home and then ride back the next morning. But yeah, indoor training, that's probably a massive one for me, because if I'm here and the kids are upstairs but they suddenly need me, I can just hop off. And the technology now for indoor cycling is pretty cool. There's some, if you're into like gaming and stuff, there's some cool stuff you can do. I don't personally do it, but the opportunity is there to do it, and there's some cool kit as well if you really want it. I actually bought that, so when my nan died, she left us a very small amount of money, so I end up buying that. So every time I ride it now, I just think, oh, it's her fault, I'm like hurting or whatever on my bike. But it was quite nice to spend the money on that. It will automatically increase the resistance on the bike depending on what you're doing on the screen. So if your avatar's going up a hill, it'll make it harder. If you're going down a hill, it will sort of reduce the resistance. There are things like you can get fans that will also then, if you're going faster, they'll increase the fan speed. So like it's meant to replicate being outdoors with the wind and things like that. I haven't gone that far into it, but there's some real cool gadgets. You can get little like gaming controls to turn left and right. I think like gaming, you can talk to other people online like whilst you're doing it, so you can do group rides. There's loads, and I haven't explored it properly. There's probably way more you can do than I even know. Like I think even the group riding, you could hop on with some friends, just for that social element of not being bored in front of the screen. The only problem I have is I train at like 5 o'clock in the morning sometimes, and not many of my friends get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So like it's a bit, I don't do it, but there is loads you could do with it, which would be pretty cool.
What piece of advice would you give to someone just to get into it?
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just have a go.
Just have a go.
You don't have to have the best. Just either borrow a bike, get a cheap bike. Like, don't make that the barrier. Just have a go. And I also think don't worry about going out with people who are better than you. I'm often riding with people way more experienced than I am, but they'll quite often help. Like you sometimes it's a bit daunting riding with experienced people or doing things with people that are better than you. But actually that's probably a good thing, and normally 9 times out of 10, they'll be really helpful and they'll quite often offer their experience. So I think that's probably like a feeling a lot of people have is in their own mind, that you think you're going to be judged, but actually a lot of people are nice and they're willing to help you. So just get out and have a go.
Any goals for the future?
Yeah, I've got a few. I mean, in performance-wise, I want to race for the GB age group team. So next year I'll have qualified for the Worlds and the European Championships, which is pretty cool. But otherwise, I think it's just like be a positive role model for my kids, like be healthy in myself, and just enjoy it. I am driven a bit by competition, but at the same time, I just want to enjoy it, and it's more for my own health and well-being than anything else. I think that's the ultimate goal, is just stay healthy. But if I can go next year and have a good championship, and that'd be a cool thing to do.